Good case today brought down by a combination of police work and help from the public here in New York City, Queens specifically. 18-year-old Honduran migrant appears to be the perp who tied up two 13-year-old kids, male and a female, robbed them both of their cell phones, hid them in an area of brush off a trail that they had been on in the park, and then raped the girl. A heinous crime that really outraged the whole city, and a lot of blood and treasure was put into him. Now, it looks like the police did not get initially lucky with the phones. He took the phones, which argued that, okay, he's a thief, he knows some place that he can fence them. Generally, that would argue migrants. They're doing a lot of that right now. But he did have, reportedly, braces. That gave me some pause, full disclosure. I haven't seen braces on a migrant. Generally, they don't have the kind of money for braces, but I left it open as a possibility. He did have a tattoo, which would track to a South American gang, and that argued that he could, in fact, be a recent arrival gangster. Lo and behold, off of some very little bit of information the police got out there, a perp was developed. They seem to have come up empty on tracking his phones, even though he took them. He must have been savvy enough to turn them off or ditch them quickly, again arguing that he'd had some experience maybe in the old country. They put out some not so great video, but a very good sketch of what he looked like and a good description of him having braces and having the tattoo. That ended up being enough, and some local bodega owners decided it was him confronting him, and his reaction kind of sealed the deal. Now, it looks, to what I can see, they smacked him around a little bit, but he's fine, and now he's got to face the music. And reportedly, to the bodega owner, he made some sort of an admission. How powerful that will be actually in court is, we have to wait to see if it's authenticated. But at least this guy, who does appear to be the guy, is off the street. Larger context, first of all, I don't recall more than one or two instances down through the years where these unsung heroes, the sketch artists, actually closed the case. We should remember that. It's very rare. None of us are going to know that person's name. The sketch artist, in this case, brought his or her skills to that table, drew that perp, and it's a very meticulous process. Is it a little smaller? You want me to go a little smaller here? Is the nose too flat, etc.? And eventually, even a 13-year-old kid says, aha, that's the guy. Something clicks, and the sketch artist knows that his work is essentially done. So kudos to that person as well. I'd like to get that person on podcast with the guys. The last thing is this. Very clearly, we're in for a mile of trouble with these migrants. Every day now, we're getting this kind of crime. It's really consistent. It seems to be only one of two nations, almost certainly nations, that emptied their criminal element into our country, and yet there is no provision to deal with them. There really isn't. And we just hope it's the other person next time and keep our fingers crossed, while the White House keeps its fingers crossed and hopes it gets to November 5th. Shouldn't be the way we run this. We still are the United States of America, last I checked. I'm Paul Mauro for the Ops Desk.